What's going on, guys and gals? RoundedTikTak here, and today we're bringing you the Copper Duet, the brand new assault rifle just released in the store. I'm going to say it now that I don't feel anything I say in this video, I'm not going to be able to please everybody. A lot of people are going to like this gun, a lot of people are going to hate it. And then we have my opinion that's just going to get massacred somewhere in between. The Duet is an interesting weapon. I was really excited for it. It looks awesome. Probably one of the coolest looking guns in the entire game. But once you start getting into the stats and taking a look at it, you realize that it's not amazing. It's not bad by any means. It's lukewarm at best for certain reasons. While you're leveling it up, you're going to realize that the base damage is pretty high. Also, with a huge magazine for an assault rifle sitting at 90 once you max out the perk. And with both of those things, you would think that this weapon falls into an LMG category. And it kind of does, but not really. You have to take a look at the fire rate at 5.0. And once you make it Shadow Shard or Sunbeam, it drops down to 4.5. I tried to finagle a way to get better fire rate using a certain character, but even then, the weapon itself is not made for headshots, which kind of sucks because the headshot multiplier on the weapon isn't bad at all. With a range of 4,096, it could do better, but it falls short in a lot of different categories. Power creeping is a huge issue in Fortnite, and if you don't know what power creeping is, basically all the new stuff is better than the old stuff. An example of this would be that all of the new weapons, most of the new weapons can roll crit chance, crit damage. Most of the old ones cannot, and therefore 90 to 95% of the time, a new weapon will be better than an old weapon. Something that breaks that rule is the Whisper 45, but only slightly, by like 300 damage. So how good is the Duet? Well, if you're a brand new player and this is one of your first legendary guns, there's gonna be no problem here. It definitely holds its own in almost every single aspect you can think of. A large magazine size, bullets that hit pretty hard, but once you start playing with the gun and getting a feel for it, you're going to notice it falling short in a lot of different categories. So let's take a look at the Re-perk and Perk-Up values here, exactly how you can do it. Most times, and in fact almost all the time, crit chance, crit damage, if you can put it on a gun, is going to be the best option here. I believe that magazine size on this gun is 100% necessary. The reload speed really isn't that bad, and plus you have in a pinch to compensate for that as well. So definitely go for magazine size here. Make it energy or physical, but I would suggest energy as you only have one, so making it an element to fight one specific kind of husk, you're never gonna use it. You can on this weapon roll, like I said, crit chance and 2 crit damages, and that's what I suggest. A headshot build wouldn't be terrible here, but once you play with the gun and realize it has a really weird accuracy thing to it, you will be mad at yourself for rolling it headshot. So crit chance, crit damage is what I suggest on this weapon. However, Crunchpack kindly gave me one of his, and instead of going double crit damage, he went 1 crit chance, 1 crit damage, and 1 fire rate to kind of beef up that fire rate that is extremely low. Originally, and I say it in the footage, I liked the fire rate one, and if you're using this on any character that's not specifically made for this gun, so if you're using a constructor or an outlander or a ninja and you don't have a build based around this weapon, I like the fire rate, crit chance, crit damage. However, if you're using a soldier build that works very well for this weapon, which we're going to talk about in just a second, what builds to use, I prefer it crit chance, crit damage instead. So those are the two ways I would roll it, although I do suggest the one without fire rate. If you're not trying to build a character around this gun, then a fire rate, crit chance, crit damage gun is perfectly fine too. Let's talk about the build, what kind of character you want to use this on. Originally, I tried to compensate the extremely slow fire rate by playing Urban Assault Headhunter and using the Make It Rain perk. After headshots, you get fire rate and some base damage. I did try this build. We're going to finish it up right now and show you exactly what else we put in there, but I'm going to tell you to not use this. It's not bad, but again, for the same reason, the accuracy of this gun makes hitting headshots, especially from afar, a big issue. So what I ended up on this first trial was Make It Rain, Startup, Mad Tidings, In a Pinch, Assault crit damage, and Assault base damage. The reason we went for this build, we wanted Mad Tidings and Startup to also make the large magazine size do a lot of damage. For the last 45 bullets, you're going to be doing an insane amount of damage. And yes, it works. The build is fine. If you don't have some of the characters, this is okay to run. But I had much more success running a different build, which I'll show you now. So we are changing our commander here. Now you do not have to run this. This is just the best case scenario for this gun. We're going to change out Urban Assault Headhunter for Nutcracker. Nutcracker gives you Mad Tidings, which increases your base damage and stability. Both of these that really benefit this gun, specifically that weapon stability. We're also going to be running Hunter's Instinct because we all know that perk is kind of broken at the moment. With Mad Tidings fully stacked, we're sitting at 145% bonus damage for the last 45 shots. The other thing we're going to change though is we're also going to bring Light Show for an extra about 30% magazine size. So those 45 shots really are more like 60 shots that are at full 145% plus the startup plus the base damage from Havoc, all guaranteed on every last 50 to 60 shots. You're going to be hitting like a truck, and you do, but does it really make the gun good? Well, let's talk about that. I'm really thinking that I like the version with fire rate on it, although once you get Mad Tidings, headshots, and a bunch of other stuff stacked up, you start to do kind of an insane amount of damage. I mean, with fire rate on this thing, we're hitting for, it looks like on average here, 113,000 damage per shot. If we compare that to another weapon, I'm not sure exactly how well it does, but if let's hypothetically use a Gravedigger. No, you know what? We're gonna use an energy weapon here. We're gonna test out the Pain Train. Let me make some ammo real quick for this defense. So the Pain Train, in this very similar build and scenario, looks like we're getting 90,000 on a headshot crit. That's what it looks like. 90,000, 199. In all honesty, this should be hitting a little harder than 199. Let's get it really ramped up towards the end of the magazine and let's see exactly how much we're hitting for. Sadly, it doesn't seem like we're getting many smashers, which is a problem. Mad Tidings resets on reloads. But I'm trying to think of the other perks that you could possibly use, and I don't really think of, I'm not really sure on anything else you would bring on a weapon like this. Again, this is the one with fire rate. Let's try the one that is actually meant to hit like a truck. It's kind of weird because it's very similar DPS, damage per bullet anyway, for the Pain Train, and it shouldn't be. This gun should be hitting twice as hard. I guess towards the end here, we're hitting for 148,000, 530,000. Was that a crit? That might have been a crit. I mean, obviously the double crit damage is going to hit harder when it does crit. I'm getting some kind of insane numbers here, to be honest. That's a lot of damage coming out. A lot. But is it 100% worth using it on a character like this? I think so. You might have slightly better results on someone like Bulletstorm Jonesy or Nutcracker. Yeah, it looks like 400k on headshot crits, which is a lot. Don't get it twisted. That's a lot of damage. For any kind of assault rifle, especially for technically a drum weapon with such a large magazine. Normally guns that hit this hard have a much smaller magazine. Take example, again, we can use the Pain Train. With only, if you roll it similar to this, you only have 30 shots in the magazine. That's a lot less here. The accuracy, at least at this range, is not an issue, but I know for a fact if I walk back here a little bit, oh no, As I said in the beginning of the video, once you start playing with it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The gun feels floaty, which is a problem. It's one of the biggest gripes of OG gamers for a gun to feel floaty, and this gun feels exactly that. I can't think of a word that describes this weapon better than the word floaty. So I think in a situation like this, it's definitely worth it to do an accuracy test, and that's exactly what we did here. The gun is interesting. The recoil isn't that bad, but the bullet spread is terrible. It is terrible. You'll see in a second exactly what I mean. So we had Crunch Pack stand 3.5 tiles away, and we're going to try to shoot a specific spot on this brick wall, and we're going to literally count how many shots end up in this target. So what he wanted to do here was shoot the square. He ended up getting 60 bullets in there out of the 93 magazine. But that's not the real issue with the gun, because as you can see, its recoil stability isn't that bad, but the bullet spread is the issue. When a bullet is off the mark, it's really off the mark. So you're not going to accidentally hit its body, hit its leg. You're going to hit absolutely nothing next to it. And that's kind of the issue. Plus that floaty feel. Once you get the weapon to try it out, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I am really rooting for this gun. I still like it, but this is the part which made me realize maybe it's not the best. We were doing a level, I believe 161 double atlas. We start the mission and I have a pain train equipped to just compare it. Pain train being one of the absolute best assault rifles in the game. I wanted to compare it to the Duet. The damage per bullet is about a difference of 2,000. I believe it's 19,000 versus 21,000 with the Duet winning. However, since the fire rate is so slow, the DPS values are much different, and it shouldn't be like that. Also, another thing to mention is I don't know if it's the shrapnel perk, the impact, because it's not that high. It seems to kick back specifically blasters, and in this weird stumble animation that I've never seen this consistently on any other weapon before in the game. It kind of ruins the accuracy that you build up with the mad tidings and stuff, as you have to reset and refocus their head. You can see it consistently in the footage of them being knocked back, jumping around, and you losing that beaming headshot that you may have actually gotten. This is footage of the Nutcracker build, and I tend to like this one a lot better. I also prefer the slower fire, non-fire rate version of the gun on this character. I don't know why, but you end up hitting really, really hard, like 226,000 damage per shot, not including crits. The gun does hit very hard, especially once Mad Tidings and Startup is fully stacked. But is it better than any other weapons? Absolutely not. This is a hard no. It's not a pass on the weapon, specifically and especially if you're new, but it is not going to be considered the best. It is not trash, but it's not great. The accuracy, the floaty feeling, the super slow fire rate, the fact that you're almost forced to get the most benefit out of this gun playing a specific build and loadout is an issue. It's not a good thing. You don't always want to play this character to actually use this gun. Otherwise, there are just better assault rifles in the game, namely the Hemlock, the Pain Train, the Wraith. All three of those outclass this thing. Not crazily, because the gun still hits hard, but enough that you should use those over this. So that's it, guys. That's the Duet, the brand new assault rifle that was just released. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Do you think I got it right? Do you think I got it wrong? I want to hear from you guys. I like the gun. It's like a Walmart version of a Wraith or a Pain Train. If you don't have either one of those, maybe pick this up and try it out. We're going to be doing a huge giveaway this weekend, Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to stop by and be a part of that, win some free stuff, Sunbeam, one of these guns, anything you want, just come stop by at twitch.tv/RoundedTikTak. I'd love to see you guys there. That's really it, guys. I'll see you on the next one. TikTak out.